Greetings, Boo Believers! Welcome to Deadsville Horror Talk, the episode you've all been waiting for. Godzilla Minus One!
So monstrous tonight, my gosh. And not in a good way.
Oh, I'm ready, Steph Infection. Are you ready?
I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm ready.
To my left, the lovely Steph Infection.
Yes, it's me.
Give me your tagline.
Well, you got me crying over
I
here.
scream hearts.
See? You were going to do it.
Floop.
I don't floop. You floop your hair.
Yeah,
your hair is longer
whatever,
than mine now. I don't know when that happened.
Anyway.
Hey, scream hearts.
There it is. I'm your host, Ronin James, Deadsville director, longtime stuntman and stunt coordinator, wearer of fishnets.
Yeah, me too.
Singer of black metal Christmas carols.
Okay. I don't know if you want to put that one on your resume, though.
Hey, come on, that's some good content. Hopefully you've all been watching the content so far that we've been putting out. Steph Infection's lovely singing voice. Do you hear? She sounds like an angel. She's always like, I can't sing. I can't sing. Stop it, I can't sing.
I don't know if this is satire or not. Are you making fun of me?
No, you're a good singer. You were good. You should front a band. Steph and the Infections. I think that's already a band, I'm sorry.
Probably.
It probably is. All right, well, yes, that's a bit about us. Steph Infection is a dance choreographer, an actress, a producer, head fear leader, and
Now Christmas caroler.
Christmas caroler is added to the list as well, so boom. If you're listening to us on Spotify, please hit the follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, you can
If there's
subscribe,
a bell, whatever.
hit the bell,
Follow,
like, comment, all that fun stuff. Email us at
deadsvillehorrortalk@gmail.com. Subject mailbag.
Subject mailbag. If you have some Godzilla toys you want to show off for a future episode, you see we got some of ours out here. And yeah, we got this one's a piggy bank. This one's a little plushie. We got the big plushie back here that matches.
Yeah.
Boom. I got all the Godzilla toys. I got a whole
vibrates,
bin of Godzilla toys that we're gonna open one day from 2004, I think it is. That are actual Toho Japanese Godzillas. They've been collecting dust in a bin since my son was little. So I'm gonna break them out. And we'll do like a reaction to all the Godzillas.
Yeah, I think
there's
that
a
would be
bunch
fun.
of them in there, if I remember correctly.
A lot. Yes, there is.
All right, so let's get to it, Steph Infection. This is the Godzilla Minus One episode. You people have all probably seen our social media. We loved it. We've gushed over it. Everybody's gushing over it. It's killing at the box office. It's putting Hollywood on the spot because it's such a good story and it's such a good movie and it's just so well written, and you compare it to all the garbage generic crap that gets churned out by Hollywood all the time, and it's just
giving Hollywood a run for their money.
Well, it's putting them to shame right now because this thing is crushing in a couple weeks in the box office, and yeah, it shows you people will come out and go to the movies for a good story. Even with subtitles? Even with subtitles. People are going out and seeing this thing, you know?
And it felt kind of long. What's the runtime?
Let's get into it, Steph Infection. It was 2 hours and 4 minutes. It's a long movie. Yeah. But if you're a Godzilla fan, you're used to that. They tend to be a little bit long. It
didn't feel too long, but you know, it was on the longer side. So even for a longer movie, it's killing it. People are seeing it multiple times in the box office.
Yeah, it's rated PG-13. And yeah, let's go ahead and read that synopsis, and we'll run through so we can get to our takes on the running time and all that kind of stuff. Because I have thoughts on the running time, but we'll do that in the first takes.
Feeling as if he unfairly cheated death too many times, Shikishima, a surviving kamikaze pilot, is attacked on Odu Island, along with many warplane engineers, by a gargantuan monster. After the engineers died due to Shikishima failing to distract the monster, an overwhelming amount of guilt weighs on him, especially after a homeless woman and a baby move into his home when he returns. Shikishima, now on a personal mission, teams up with a large group of veterans to finally take down the monster known as Godzilla.
Not bad. Yeah, and then you have the shorter one. Post-war Japan is at its lowest point when a new crisis emerges in the form of a giant monster baptized in the horrific power of the atomic bomb.
Yeah, I think.
So yeah, they each, obviously, that synopsis digs a little deeper into the main character's story arc. This one kind of focuses more on the monster, but there is a lot of.
It's not going to ruin
Japan.
anything. Yeah.
No, not at all. But it's very, the post-war Japan setting is really good. It's a very, it falls right in line with Godzilla's history, so it's,
But that was like the most, I felt more connected seeing post-war Japan from their point of view, like from an actual Japanese director, writers, and cast, rather than, I feel like Hollywood has tried to show like Japan, and I can't even think of movies, but even just any any movies on the war, you get an American telling what they went through. Even if it's heartbreaking, it still was just, it was more, it was more realistic and kind of eye-opening to see it.
Agreed. Real quick, I'll do the names because I'm better at names than you, probably, with, I don't know, maybe.
I'm
Director and writer Takashi Yamazaki. This thing's, you want to talk about the writing and directing? That's kind of where we started. So this is also going to fall into the first takes category. We're just going to mix it up here.
Yeah.
So first takes. Writer and director Takashi Yamazaki. Your feelings on the writing? I thought it was
written very well.
Perfectly balanced between, like we've said in the other, in our kind of spoiler-free. I did on my Daily Booze live stream. It's a perfect balance of monster and human drama, and the pacing's really good. And at 2 hours and 4 minutes, man, this thing could have really dragged ass and made you bored quick. But there's never a point where you're bored, because you get. Even like the human drama scenes, there's always high stakes. It's always something, and then all of a sudden, then Godzilla will pop in, and it's just like, fuck, and then it's now everybody's got to rally together, and
I feel like something that Hollywood has done with every type of movie that there is. It's like, oh, where's our love interest? This is what's going to happen. Nothing was. In this entire movie, with all of the characters, I didn't see a lot of it coming. I didn't see any. Really, it was not. What's the word I'm looking for?
Predictable?
It wasn't predictable. I was thinking of something else, but it wasn't predictable. In any sense.
And most people, if you're a Godzilla fan, you know Godzilla's history already. So this is a retelling of the origin, which they've done a couple times already. So it would be real easy. Knowing the origin of Godzilla already, and they're still following the same origin, but I think giving it this human element, putting it in the perspective, from the perspective of this Kamikaze pilot who chickened out.
And I will say there was one thing that I saw come. It was very predictable. I knew it was going to happen. I had it prepared in my head. It was going to happen.
Was it a spoiler? Because we're not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not saying what it is, but I was like. I still started like ugly crying when it happened. And I'll tell you when we get to spoilers which part that was. But, so even those moments where something you may have known, it was just written so well that it still hit you when you saw it, know?
Yeah, we'll talk about the cast real quickly, because these are actors that we're not real familiar with, obviously. I've not seen them in anything else. I don't I haven't watched a lot of, at least not that I recognize them from, but we had Minami Hamabe, Rhinos, here we go, Rinosuke Kamiki, and Sakura Ando. Sakura Ando. The whole cast was great. We could just talk about certain characters, obviously, and I'm terrible with names, and I'm especially going to be terrible with
our
foreign
lead
names, probably.
Yeah.
But our leads were Kamiki and Minami Hamabe, played Noriko and Shikishima. So Shikishima is our pilot, and he does a really good job. Yeah, he definitely has had that. The movie. Everybody in the movie definitely had like a 50s aesthetic, like that old 40s, 50s aesthetic. The look, the. Even I guess with the, I don't want to get into it because it's kind of spoilery. Yeah. But even his mindset was very much in that honor first.
Yeah. And so everyone in the movie.
Right. There was a lot of that, and he does a great job. Noriko is great. She's the.
She's a homeless girl.
Yeah, who would be considered the love interest, but it's not.
But it's not.
It's not really. Yeah. That's not something that they pursue in this. Like, it just kind of organically happens that these people wind up together because they're all recovering from the devastation of World War II.
Yeah. And it's like a friendship. It's just like a mixed match. They find this baby and they're
we're going to get into. Yeah, we're getting into spoiler territory, so let's just jump to it. Let's dig deeper, folks. Pass me the shovel, Steph Infection. Let's get to it. Bing!
That was a tiny shovel.
A tiny little shovel. Woo! Dig deeper with the shovel. Digging deeper, folks. It's spoiler time. If you haven't seen Godzilla -1, we're going to give some stuff away. But obviously, we both recommend this movie very highly. This is probably my favorite movie of the year. This probably gets my #1 rated movie of the year. I mean, it was fucking pretty perfect. Rotten Tomatoes has it 98% on the Tomatometer, and the audience score is 98%.
Yeah, both, yeah.
Now, we rarely see that.
Yeah.
Everybody loves this movie.
Agree.
You're not even the biggest Godzilla fan.
No, I've seen the original ones.
Ugly crying in the movie.
I could not stop crying. I could not keep it together. Like multiple times, multiple things were happening. Even if I told people that I work with, I was like, even if you're not a Godzilla fan, just the storyline and a couple nurses, they were like, oh my God, I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it because they brought their sons and just to go see it. And they were like, I was nervous with subtitles, but our son sat for it. Like, they loved it. And it just, even if there were kids that were there that probably couldn't even read, and they just liked it for the action too. Yeah. I mean, it just was so good. It was written so well. It's almost perfect. There were some things that would never actually happen, but
well, we are talking about giant lizards. So
there's a couple
right off the
things
bat, we're having things that wouldn't actually happen. But.
Yeah. Physics-wise and standing in the ocean-wise, but things like that. I was like, I'm a little curious at that, but overall, I think it's probably either 1 or 2 of my favorite movie this year.
Yeah, I mean,
I only have one other one in my head.
Yeah, well, that's same with me, and I can give it to you right now. It's Onyx the Fortuitous.
Yep, same.
And
that I think was a perfect movie though. This one, it's just different. They're just different.
Yeah. Onyx hits on a different vibe, being a horror comedy and playing off of the '80s nostalgia. Onyx was my favorite movie. It's definitely my favorite horror comedy of the year. I will say that. It's probably my favorite. Yeah,
well, we're going to do a wrap up at the end
we
of the
will.
year.
But Godzilla is my #1 movie of the year. Like, it's out of everything, out of every fucking movie, not just horror, not monster movies.
I gotta think about
This is my #1 movie of the year. It was so well written.
So
it was so like the human drama kept me engaged. And usually, I'll be honest, I watch all the Godzilla movies, and when that human drama shit comes up, I'll check out. Especially nowadays when I watch, I'll be like, all right, let me get on my phone, check my emails till I see some more fucking Godzilla. Because I'll play them in the background. I'll just put a channel and have Godzilla playing and shit, or Gamera, whatever. But that human drama can be tedious and boring, and especially as an American, and I'm a little more familiar, having watched a lot of Asian cinema, but somebody trying to get into it might not understand the customs as much, and that makes the human drama even more tedious sometimes because you're not familiar with why they act certain ways or do certain things or certain customs, so you have no clue. But this just was
You needed a basic understanding of the, war. I mean, I think it helped, but you didn't need it.
You didn't need it. You just jumped right in and you just knew, okay, this is right after America dropped the bomb and kicked Japan's ass, and they went home with their tail between their legs, and they're trying to, like, rebuild, and now here comes this fucking monster.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck, one thing after another.
I know. And even just the drama with all the people and the friendships and stuff, everything was, like, organic, and it just kind of flowed, and it just was written very, very well. And I always say that, and same with Onyx, that this is where I think a great movie, a movie goes from good to great or fantastic. It's rewatchability. So if I want to rewatch it immediately, like, that's the best movie ever. And I was, like, wanting to go see this in IMAX. I'm like, I'll go tomorrow again and just go watch it and, like, on a bigger screen.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous of people that got to catch it in IMAX.
Is it out?
Oh yeah, I think.
Is it done?
Oh no, it's still in the theaters. It's still in theaters.
Yeah, maybe
we'll
we'll
see where it is.
I don't know.
After Christmas, maybe, if it's still out. But yeah. Definitely one of my top movie and many people's top movie of the year. And if the box office is any indication, it's just a fucking crusher.
Yeah.
Before we get to our spoilers, I'll just go through the box office.
You already grabbed these shovels. You were premature.
I know. I jumped ahead to the shovels and we weren't ready for them. But this is off of Collider.com. Godzilla Minus One has surpassed expectations and grossed over $57 million globally, proving to be a massive success. Director Takashi Yamazaki's character-driven approach provides a refreshing change for MonsterVerse fans. The movie strikes a perfect balance between awe-inspiring visuals and emotionally charged storytelling, revitalizing the franchise. It started off in a limited bunch of theaters, and it blew up, and we've been covering it. I've been talking about it on Daily Booze Live. It eventually expanded to an additional 2,600 theaters across America, and 34 million domestically and 57 worldwide. And it just keeps getting extended. I know it's been extended again.
Oh, yeah. They should keep this out, until they see any... I don't think they're going to see a big dip, because it's one of those movies that, even like I said, I was talking to people at work about it. They're like, oh, I would never go to see a Godzilla movie if I didn't have a son. And they're telling people, go see it. Just go see it in the theater. So I think it needs that bit of, kind of whisper down the lane, you got to go see this, even if you're not a fan, go see this. And people are thinking about it, and then they're like, oh, I'll go see it, and then they're loving it. I walked into a Japanese surgeon. He's a foot surgeon. And I walked in, and he was in the middle of surgery, and I was like, yo, did you see Godzilla? And he was like, yes, I saw it twice. and then the surge tech was like, I went too. And we had this whole conversation when he was fixing a hammer toe. It was just people that I would never, other people in the room that I would never think that, would like it. They're now wanting to go see it. So I think that's why it's going to keep getting extended, because people are going to just keep going and hearing about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no better press or pub than people you know telling you, recommending something to you, especially if you have similar tastes. You know, if your friends are telling you, man, they know you like burgers, and they go have a good burger somewhere, and they go tell you, hey, man, go there and try that burger. You know, okay, I trust you.
But this is like, this is almost like, I don't really like burgers. You know, I don't really like burgers. But you be like, listen,
it's a really good burger.
This is the best burger. You will love this burger. I'll be like, all right, I'll try the burger. And then I'm like, oh my God, I love that burger. Like, that is how this is.
Yep.
So people need a little nudge, and they need a little time.
Yep. All right. Well, now we can dig deeper and.
Are you sure?
Spoil, yeah.
Do you want the big shovel?
Yeah,
I got
give
the big one.
Give me the big shovel.
All right, we ready?
Ooh, I'm ready for the big shovel. Toss it over here. Oh, yeah. Dig it deeper.
Somehow my knees always get dug.
Ah! He's vibrating.
He's a clap on.
Yes.
That's it, just clap on. He's not a clap off.
All right, folks, digging deeper. Now we're going to get to the spoilers. And we're going to go through this pretty quick because we're not going to give a whole bunch away. And we're going to try and make the episodes a little shorter and wrap it up a little quicker for you so you guys can all go enjoy movies and listen to us chit-chat less. Right? Yes.
Especially you.
Yeah, I talk way too much. I don't have any rants for this one, unless I want to rant about Hollywood sucking.
No,
I could always tell Hollywood how much they suck. More. That's always goes over well.
All right, you want to talk about his appearance?
Of Godzilla's appearance?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like his physical look, shall we talk about?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, man, I thought this was a great design. I thought, here we go, spoilers right off the bat. So the first time we see him is little Godzilla. He's like the little one, he's on the island, he's barely bigger than the plane that Shikishima flew in on. He's just barely bigger than it. And he comes out and attacks everybody, and they try to get Shikishima to shoot him, and he doesn't shoot him, and they like lock eyes, and it was a cool scene. It was cool having the little Godzilla, and he's like wrecking shit.
This whole entire part, like you're just like on your toes. Like the anxiety of watching this whole movie on and off just had me like on the edge of my seat. I could not. Like I felt for, and you're seeing, and these are brutal kills right off the bat. Like they're really showing some slaughtering.
Yeah, he's ripping them up. But you know, and again, Shikishima freezes, and only the one other guy lives, and he like hates him, the mechanic, because everybody else gets killed.
But also, it's
and he blames Shikishima for freezing. But the thing is, like,
he would have died.
Well,
they probably still all would have died if he
Right. Who's to say that the bullets would even hurt Godzilla? You can't kill him. He won't die.
No, we know it wouldn't have.
So even if he would have done something, it would have, you know, it wouldn't have done anything. Everybody probably still would have died, and then Shikishima probably also would have died, and the other guy probably would have died too.
And the movie would have been
pissed Godzilla off. Well, then we wouldn't have this good, juicy human drama to sink our teeth into.
I know.
So
we need that.
So yeah, I mean that was cool seeing him as a little Godzilla, and then later, what was the catalyst that he?
Well, he was. They were Kamikaze pilot engineers, so he goes there.
No, I mean, what was it that made Godzilla grow? Did they drop another bomb? They were testing a bomb, right?
I don't remember them ever actually saying that.
Or it was just years later, and Godzilla was growing.
It was a couple, it
Because
was.
he was way bigger. Because
he was, I think he just
that
gets
happens,
bigger.
and then we follow Shikishima back to his village.
And you're seeing, it's just
decimated. His parents have been killed.
The
he
house
comes back to find out everybody he loves is dead, pretty much.
The neighbor lost all her kids, and she's like, weren't you a kamikaze pilot? You know, you're a coward. You have no honor. And he was trying to say that his plane didn't.
Well, that's what the Oda Island stop was a.
He said his plane wasn't.
Well, there was. It's
up.
where kamikazes would stop if their planes weren't operating properly.
Yeah.
So if there was something wrong with the plane, they would touch down here, and that's why there was a small group of mechanics There wasn't even it wasn't even a military installation. It was a tiny little island
and they
on the way to America.
And they said, no, we don't find anything wrong. And he's like, what are you saying? You know, and that was very intense.
Yeah. So right off the bat, that head mechanic kind of was looking at him sideways, and then he chickens out again when God's in his eyes when Godzilla shows up and kills everybody else. And
which you kind of like feel for them. So.
No, I totally get it.
At one point we see that his mother, who has passed away, wrote him a letter and said, no matter what, come back to me alive.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't even imagine, yes, that is your, you know, an honorable death, a death that they thought back then. But that's still your baby, that's still your kid. Like, I can't even imagine the turmoil that you would go through in your head.
So in 1946, Shikishima returns home, finds his parents dead after the bombing of Tokyo, survivor's guilt. He works as a minesweeper. He gets on this boat. They go out and he's like the marksman with the gun. He also comes across the woman who has taken in an orphan baby. Mm-hmm. And
she kind of just like, well, she throws the baby on him in like the market, and then she like.
Yeah. Well, she's stealing something.
Yeah.
She throws the baby, hold the baby, and then he's like waiting for her to come back, and she never comes back, and he walks away with the baby, and she jumps out.
Yeah, he was gonna just leave the baby, and he's like, ah, damn it, you know.
So she watches him pick the baby back up and take the baby. So
then she kind of just is like, I'm coming in with you.
Yeah, she kind of invites herself in and just moves in like a pushy woman.
Oh, I know a lot of men like that.
All right, so let's see. No, there's a Godzilla's mutated. Later that year, Godzilla's mutated and powered by the United States nuclear tests at Bikini Atoll.
Okay,
It destroys several American warships before heading for Japan. Owing to tensions with the Soviet Union, the U.S. offers no help, save for a few decommissioned Imperial Japanese Navy vessels approved by Douglas MacArthur. Yeah, I vaguely remember this part. Japanese government, concerned about inducing panic, does not notify the public about the danger.
Oh, yeah.
1947... Shikishima and his minesweeper quit, and this was what cracked me up. They get out there, and their task is to stall Godzilla as he approaches Japan. So this whole scene was awesome. I was just like, and
I knew that they would be okay, but I was like,
yeah, but
oh my God, he's so close.
So it was the two boats, and when the Godzilla takes out the one boat, and they're just oh shit, and they start rolling. Well, first they come out and they find the destroyed destroyer, and it's ripped to pieces, and that was a good.
Almost like, what are we supposed to do? And they kind of are all like, stall. And they're like, crap.
Yep.
Like,
so they have some mines on the boat, and Godzilla starts chasing them. But this was a great scene because it looked like a practical Godzilla in the water. I mean, it really did. That
with the jaws scene.
With the chasing behind them, with the fins behind, the scales behind, and just pushing through the water.
It was cool. It did look.
It looked real. Like he wasn't. The face wasn't changing expressions, but the eyes kind of moved.
They may have had. We could look into this, or even like a skeleton or something that like. With pinpoints that they made
maybe.
Just made the waves and whatnot. Because it did. It seemed.
So that was really cool. That whole scene with him chasing him, and they drop a mine into his mouth, and he explodes. No, that's right. He shoots it. Yeah. It was the total Jaws. It was the Jaws. So they Jaws him.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't work. Blows half his cheek off, and then we watch it just grow right back.
Okay, so I'm not well versed in Godzilla world. Is that something that has happened before?
Not that fast.
Okay,
not that fast.
I didn't think
this
so.
Was fast, like
he's indestructible.
Quick regeneration.
Kind of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with lizards too is that you cut a tail off, they grow back a tail.
Yeah.
Cut a limb off, they grow back. Supposedly they could grow it back. So.
Yeah.
It makes sense if you have this super hyper-powered lizard. His healing factor would
I didn't
be
question
like,
it.
boop, 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 boop.
It was just
But it's never been that fast.
I was like, holy crap. Yeah, that's why we get our ending, which we'll get to, where you're just really racking your brain onto how to really like kill or you know, put this thing down.
Yeah. So yeah, they blow it up. They see the face fix itself, and they kind of pull away, but it's just enough for the cruiser to catch up. As soon as his face like heals, and just like you think, they're like, oh fuck, they're about to get destroyed, I think, and the cruiser shows up and starts bombing Godzilla, and Godzilla's like, oh, you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll be right back. And he whoop, goes under, and next thing you see is him come up, and him destroying that fucking cruiser was awesome, man. It was so epic. That was like one of the big scenes that you really need to see in theater.
Yeah. You're not going to feel it unless you got your own personal theater at your house, where you got surround sound. This thing was just...
That's where you like yeah, we get a sense of his size from him chasing the tugboat, the minesweeper.
Yeah.
But you don't get a sense for how massive he is and how brutal he is and how like vicious he can really be until he comes out of the water and starts ripping this fucking cruiser apart, this battleship apart. And yeah, that shit.
How do they get him to stop at this point? I forget.
I don't think he did. So he subsequently destroyed Godzilla, unleashes his heat ray. That's right. This is the first time we see the heat ray too.
Dude.
Which was awesome. With the scales, brilliant fucking tweak to the Godzilla. Like,
it's like a transformer.
Yeah, like the armor would be like boom, boom, as the fucking blue glow is coming and the scales are lifting and then yeah.
See, that is very radioactive. Like, that's how I would imagine a radioactive huge monster would be.
So, the heavy cruiser is destroyed. Shikishima gets back to... and then Godzilla just leaves after destroys the destroyer, I believe, right?
For not long, though.
So, Shikishima goes back and tells Noriko about Godzilla. About the whole thing when the first island, and now he just saw it again, and it's fucking huge.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does tell her.
And then a few days later, Godzilla makes landfall in Japan and attacks Ginza, where Noriko works. And this scene was awesome.
She was on like the subway or train or the.
It's like the train. It's the elevated train subway that goes to the L, but. This is a classic Godzilla. This was in the original Godzilla, where the guy in the suit got the fucking little miniature and And this was in the original 1954 Godzilla. So it was great to see them do this, and like I was watching, and at first, when she wound up being in the car that Godzilla grabs and is biting,
dude, I was
like, how the fuck is she gonna get out?
I know. I'm like, oh man, she's gonna die.
And she's like hanging on the bar, and I'm like, all right, this is like some like The Rock, San Andreas level bullshit right now.
It was a little.
That was the one part where I was like, yeah, it's a little something, but all right.
We needed that intenseness, but it was.
I'm like, how are we getting out of this? And then it went on a little long.
A little long, yeah.
Yeah, like it would have made more sense for her to just slide out of the bottom of the car and into the water, not hang on like a trapeze artist while Godzilla's chewing on the thing, and then
if your life depends on it, you're like, and then but I was like, all right, it's just gonna fall into something, right? Like she can't die right now, like this.
No, it couldn't happen then. But the train, seeing the giant destruction of the city, like that whole part when he's destroying Ginza. Coming through the streets, you see the fucking train car sail and smashing shit.
Dude,
and
I felt like I was there.
Yeah.
Like
the way it's shot, it does. It puts you right in the street with the people.
And just the way that everyone's like just petrified, and like the sounds that were rolling through the city, and I was like, oh my! I really felt like I was there. Yeah,
they did a really good of enhancing. That was another classic scene. Another classic scene in every Godzilla movie is the people running from Godzilla. You always have millions of extras just run. oh, Gojira, and they run down the street. And, oh, no, Gojira. This puts you in the action. Like those scenes are always like wide shots of the street.
Oh yeah.
In the old movies, and it's just
This
you
was
just see
like-
all the extras going and a whole bunch because they were trying to show you like massive amounts of people
this
back
was
then,
in
and
the
that was the
50s,
style of filmmaking, and that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
This one, they did a really good job of getting in the action, getting on the street when the people are running and when the destruction. And it was tough back in the day. You would have a guy in a suit and running through a cardboard miniature street, and then you'd have to just throw in, superimpose people running on the street. So it was hard to get that to capture.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have nowadays with CGI, and CGI. This is really good too. I will say that as well.
Well, that's the thing. We've said before that they're using too much CGI in a lot of movies. Like, this is a movie that did it perfectly well.
Yeah, this was really good.
Perfectly well. Like, I did not even feel like there were times I was like, oh, that's a little CGI-ish, but it was not.
But that's how you get into the action. That's how we're in there. That's how it's immersing you in the middle of the destruction.
It felt real.
Like you said, it felt like you were there on the street with them. You felt that panic of holy shit, you see fucking train cars flying, because that was the thing, you're in the view of a person on the street and shit's flying and buildings and like over top of the other building getting crushed.
You saw
like holy shit,
kids and stuff getting smashed.
Oh yeah, people were getting crushed. There was
no mercy.
Yeah, it was
to any demographic.
Top notch destruction. What were they called? Like the old Towering Inferno. What were those old movies called? The like the plane that was crashing. Like, oh God, they used to have
I didn't know there was a name for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up. But they were like apocalyptic, like not apocalyptic, but like
something along those lines. Yeah,
like big time destruction movies. The world is ending for like certain people type.
Yeah.
So this really puts you in the shoes of the people on the street there. That was really good.
It was really good. However, it's bringing us to a moment. It was my first upset, my first little rant of the movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. So Noriko narrowly survives the attack. She falls into the water, and then Shikishima has raced to Ginza to try and get her out of there.
My first moment. I'm like,
and he finds her.
He finds her?
Everybody's evacuating, he finds her.
He ran from, those are little moments that I'm like, come on. Like, I know we need that for the next part, which also pissed me off. We needed it. But this is one that I'm like, I hate those because they're so unbelievable.
Oh, you just so coincidentally found them.
If you were in the city, in just
this was
Philly,
another, this is like another.
Which is down the road.
Yeah. It's another St. Andreas the Rock moment.
I could run there. And you'd be dead by the time I ran.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
it's ridiculous how big
to
Philly
West
is.
Philly. I'd be like,
so many people on the street,
Where
and you're just like,
you?
what was she wearing this morning when she left? I forget.
Like,
was she wearing her blue coat
and in
or
all
her
this
brown coat?
all this destruction, she falls to the ground, about to be killed, and he finds her and gets her to get up.
Gets her out.
And is like, keep on living. One of those, he says something like that.
And then, but then she returns the favor because Godzilla, again, heat blasts, right?
And she pushes him in between two.
Yeah, because they bring out a bunch of tanks, and Godzilla gets enraged by the tank fire and uses his heat ray again, killing tens of thousands.
It's basically, it's the suction, down a tunnel physics. It wouldn't go sideways. Think of what was that, Independence Day?
Yeah.
When she goes into the little thing and goes past her. It would happen that way. But these moments where, somebody pushes the other person, I said to you, I was like, why couldn't she just go too? She could literally just be like, and we're both here.
Yeah, well, it's a plot device.
I know.
Because now Shikishima vows revenge on Godzilla.
We needed this. This was
this is what finally makes him man up, because he loves her and he has that talk.
That's why I let it slide. We needed it, but that was my first
If you remember, the guys from the boat are saying, when are you going to make an honest woman out of her? She loves you, da-da-da-da. And he's talking about, I'm still fighting a war. The war's not over for me. And
he doesn't want to get married. He doesn't want that.
He doesn't feel that he's honorable and worthy.
Even the baby calls him Dada, and he's like, no.
No, I'm not Dada. Yeah, because she's getting older. Yep. So yeah, Noriko caught in the blast, gets fucking launched. I had a feeling, but we all assume she's dead. And Shikishima vows revenge. So now the government's not going to do anything about Godzilla, and so the local townspeople in Ginza and surrounding area, I guess, they all get together and they're coming up with a plan. And it's like a crazy, they're going to freeze them and they're going to sink them to the bottom and then raise them to the top so that it happens real fast and it decompresses. And this was all a little vague to me, but one of the people on the crew, on Shikishima's crew, he's like a former engineer, naval engineer, Kenji, and he's got the plan. Freon tanks, rupturing them, buoyancy, sinking Godzilla, and decompression.
Which in theory, this sounds magical. If you have any background in physics, you know that that would absolutely not work.
Yeah, well.
They would have, those things would have exploded on the way back up. You may be able to sink, but the raising back up at that level, no. No.
All right, well, at any rate, he has recruited private citizens, mostly former members of the Navy, to enact his plan. Shikishima recruits Tachibana to repair a broken down Kyoshu J7W Shinden fighter. And this was a good, cool fucking scene.
Dude, I loved everything about this. Like, he writes him letters. Like, he's like, no, I need him to be the one that works on the plane.
That works on the plane.
He needs it. And he like says something in the letter like it was all your fault or something.
Totally blaming him.
So the guy comes and runs in to kick his ass.
Oh, it's great.
And so Shikishima's like, I needed to say that. I don't really believe it. But
right. He's like, I needed you to show up, and that was the only way was to piss you off. Get you to fucking answer me. Yeah, that was really good. But it was also cool that like Shikishima was dead set on getting him because this guy wanted some redemption too, and he knew he didn't have closure and he needed it.
Yeah. And I love this. This really got me. Like this got my tears flowing. You know, because his friends they're like, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Don't you leave that little girl like fatherless, because you know he's thinking of being honorable, and he's before he even mentions his plan of flying into the mouth, we know he's gonna kamikaze himself. That's his plan.
Yep.
And his friends know, and they're on the other ship, and like that really got me. They're like, don't you dare, like yelling at him.
He also leaves Akiko with the neighbor and
with a letter with money. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're building this up, and then this guy who's working on the kamikaze plane, like the fighter plane, hates, is like yelling at him, like, and then he kind of gives him this.
Well, you see him having a talk
about like wanting to live, and
they kind of pull back and kind of leave the scene with him talking to him, pointing to stuff in the cockpit.
He says though right before they cut away. And back here, and then they cut
right, and if you remember earlier in the movie when they were having the town meeting about Godzilla, they were talking about how the Japanese, because everybody was criticizing the government, they were talking about how the Japanese Air Force was so cheap they didn't even put ejector seats in the planes.
So this was was known, and this was my moment where I knew exactly. I was like, I know what's going to happen. But when it happened, I still started crying. Because you don't know, I mean...
You know it's coming, but it doesn't matter. It's just written so well and executed so well that, Godzilla resurfaces. Shikishima lures it into the trap set by the ships. It survives the initial plunge, then breaks free before being forced back up with the help of a fleet of tugboats. The ships haul Godzilla to the surface, and enraged Godzilla prepares to destroy all the vessels with its heat ray, and is fucking powering up.
Time out. Can we talk about when the tugboats showed up and the one character that I love, they wouldn't let him come because he's like a young kid, because they thought they were saving him. And he just wants to go to war, and they're like, it's okay.
Because he wanted the honor of fighting in battle. And
then he shows up with all the tugboats, and he comes to save the day, and they're all like, I'm really happy that you're here. I was like, oh.
Yeah, every character had their arc.
I know. It wasn't just, it was all of them.
Had had a fleshed out story arc. Because you had other scenes before that where if you remember, the captain pulls him aside at one time and like chews his ass out because he's like complaining that he's never been to war, and he's like, dude, you should be fucking thankful you haven't been to war, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? Don't ever fucking say that. Especially around people who've actually been to war. You don't fucking say that.
I mean, basically, that's exactly what he said without all the Fs. That's exactly what he said.
So I mean, there's the whole growing of the character, and it was just again so well written.
Yeah.
So well written, and it 2 hours goes by pretty quick because everything is so engaging and the pacing is so good and everything just fits together. And like you said, even when you have moments like where it would be like, oh, this is corny or whatever, even those little cheesy coincidental things that happen nonstop in fucking Hollywood movies, even when they hit you with one or two of them in this one, you forgive it because the rest of it is so
forgivable.
Good.
That's why I say it's almost perfect. I think I rated it like a 9.2 just of things, maybe higher, maybe a 9.5. But like the one other thing, like they lure Godzilla out. There was a part I was like, how long are his legs? Because like his knees.
Godzilla treads water really good. He's got a big ass and it's very buiant.
That's what I think
they want. Godzilla butt is
they
buoyant.
want us to think, but I was like, all right, I don't know. he's just floating there like a buoy, or is he standing?
Anyway, at the end, they haul him to the surface, and enraged Godzilla prepares to destroy all the vessels with its heat ray, but Shikishima crashes the plane into its mouth and destroys its head, causing the energy of the heat ray to tear its body apart. The crew celebrates as Shikishima ejects before the explosion and parachutes to safety, having remembered that Tachibana implored him to let go of his guilt and choose to live.
And you think that's like the ending part that you're like, the feel good?
No, that was the first feel good. That was, that was a very good feel good. And that plane was awesome too. That fucking plane was awesome, dude. That was really fucking cool. And a lot of those scenes with him flying around and Godzilla swiping at him, so good. It was like reminiscent of like the old King Kong movies where they
that's what I was thinking.
Fucking Kong. Oh, it was so good.
Bet you we get more of that in April.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, so then we get our final scene.
Yeah.
So while all this is happening, a telegram gets delivered to the neighbor
who's watching the baby.
And that's when I leaned over to you and said, Noriko's alive.
And I was like, no, because I don't know anything about what kept her alive. Because, again, I've seen the original Godzilla. I watched it a few years ago, probably. Not terribly long ago. Yeah. I don't make it a habit.
She got, that destruction swept her the fuck away.
I didn't know about G-cells, right?
Yeah. So, at the very end, we get... Shikishima visits a hospital where he reunites with Noriko, who survived the destruction, and...
his breakdown crying, like, that's so real.
Oh, like, he was so good. It was so fucking good.
He's and so handsome, too. Like, he's so good looking, and he's just... I feel like he's, like, trying not to fall in love the whole movie, so it makes you love him even more at the end when he, like, breaks down that she's alive, and I'm like, I just, love this guy. I love this guy so much.
He was really good.
He was really, just, because that's that moment, you think somebody is dead. Somebody that you love. The only person that you have you thought you had, as your family anymore. Yep. And she's alive. And, see, this is my thing. I was like, no way. Because I didn't know of any, when was that introduced?
So,
it's got to be later.
G-cells, I don't know exactly which one they were introduced, but it was later. And the last one I remember them really being prominent in was Final Wars, where they had the...
I saw Final Wars.
There was the one where the aliens take control of all the monsters and Godzilla's got to fight them all. And also the Earth Defense Force is like a bunch of superhumans who are infused with G-cells. They have...
Maybe I didn't see Final Wars. When did that come out?
They're not I don't want to say if they're superhumans, but it's like Matrix-y type-y.
Yeah.
It was around the Matrix. I mean, it was they were like, how do we do the aliens in it? We'll have to watch it. I have it on Blu-ray. and it's probably online somewhere. But it's a ton of fun, and it stars Kane Kasugi, who, if you are an 80s ninja movie fan like I was growing up, you remember Kane's father, Sho Kasugi, was the Return of the Ninja, 9 Deaths of the Ninja. He was the ninja in all of the ninja movies. Yes, not American Ninja. American Ninja was Michael Dudikoff. He was a white guy. But all the 9 Deaths of the Ninja. God, I forget the names of all of them, but I remember the one classic line, "Only a ninja can kill a ninja." I was like, fuck. Yeah, it was like, because that was one of the classic ones. The Godzilla Final Wars stars him. It has Dave G-Cells, which gives them powers of super jumping and fighting.
So I didn't see that one. I'm thinking of the Godzilla that came out.
So this, they are working in. We see the black creeping up at her neck as the camera pans around as they're having their heartfelt moment. Can't leave you with just all heartfelt, feels. We got to be like dun dun dun, and you see, So you get the black
upper neck.
Somebody
in the theater was like, "She got a tattoo." There was a loud group, but they were funny. I kept laughing at them. They were like,
we had a good crowd in the theater. The place was packed.
And the guy, his friend was like, "That's G-Cells, man." I was like, "What are G-Cells?" I'm trying to listen to this guy, and I'm like, I don't even know. I mean, it makes sense, but
it's confirmed they are G-Cells, and we'll see more of that. I'm sure they'll explain more, but that would explain why she healed. Because Godzilla heals. So if she gets infused with G-Cells, she has the healing properties of Godzilla, which we all saw. That shit was fast. So even just a little tiny bit infuses in her, then that explains why she lived.
Does it change her personality, though?
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So again, that's how they end it with the G-Cell revelation. And that does it. It was a great ending. I was like, man, this is like. I mean, you kind of knew what was going to happen, but it's like the ending of Independence Day. All right, Will Smith fucking saves the day, and everybody's cheering. We're like, hey, feel good.
You had that moment. You're like, oh man, he's having his last cigar. He ain't getting out of this. And then, even though you know he's going to.
He's fucking Will Smith. He's getting out of it. This is freaking
but you still get those moments where you're like, maybe not. No. All right. Did the fat lady sing? I don't know. But I will say this before we wrap it up ourselves, because I thought this was kind of cool. As much as we are saying how good this movie was.
Trivia
time.
A little Godzilla trivia for
Gareth
this one.
Edwards, who directed Godzilla 2014, attended a screening of this film. He described a feeling of jealousy while watching the film, stating, "This is what a Godzilla movie should be like." That's that's just being like...
And Gareth Edwards' Godzilla was good.
I remember it, and So, but he even said, this is what it should be.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot. That takes a big man.
And he's made some really good movies, Gareth Edwards. Sorry. Go back to that other one. This was a good one too.
Yeah, I was going to.
Go ahead.
Instead of creating a new roar, the crew simply played the original Godzilla roar over loudspeakers and recorded the audio.
And that's awesome.
That's really cool.
So still using the classic original Godzilla Screonk.
Yeah, let's see, I didn't actually read this, but the -1 refers to the fact that Japan had already been devastated by World War II, brought down to 0. But with the emergence of Godzilla, it puts Japan into the negative. This is reflected in the film's original Japanese tagline, which translates to post-war Japan from 0 to minus. I didn't know that.
Yep, I did not either. Very interesting.
All right, one more. When asked about the differences between the American adaptations and the Japanese originals, Yamazaki stated that while the American Godzilla is only focused on being monstrous, the Japanese interpretation is both as a monster and as a god. Elaborating, Yamazaki stated, the point of international Godzilla is that he's a really powerful monster, but a Japanese Godzilla is halfway a godlike creature in many ways. Not necessarily a religious god, but more like a Japanese god, a malevolent and destructive one. So and you kind of get that even like throughout the film, like the way they're not just running, but they're like Godzilla, like on like to almost like honor him in a way, like, or don't they take their hats off when he goes down, or they salute him?
Did they?
Yes, that's what they did. They all saluted him.
No, I thought they were saluting.
No,
Shikishima.
They knew he was. I don't know. I felt like it was for Godzilla.
I thought they were saluting Shikishima. They hated Godzilla.
No, I think it was for Godzilla.
I don't think so.
Because they saw that he was.
I don't think so. What did you guys think? You can email us.
Deadsvillehorrortalk@gmail.com. Subject mailbag.
Were they saluting Godzilla, or were they saluting Shikishima for fucking killing Godzilla? So they think. Because even then, we see him starting at the very end. The head starts to regrow very little by little. So obviously he will be back.
We knew that he was safe. I just felt like they were just saluting like you know, good.
All right, well, we're past that. You know, we're good. You think salute Godzilla, and I think salute Shikishima. That's okay.
Guys,
let's wrap it up. We said we were going to keep these short. You want to keep going back and forth about the salute? Let's go.
Wrap it up.
Final thoughts. We've done our terror trivia. Now we're on to our final thoughts. Call to action, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Be sure to tune in to Deadsville Daily Booze with yours truly, Ronin James, Monday through Friday on my Facebook page, Ronin James II. Yes, follow me and we will discuss the daily horror headlines Monday through Friday around 3 p.m., 3:30ish.
It is never the same time.
Loosely, but I'll give you a heads up if you follow the page. So
oh my God. Today was 2 o'clock. All right.
All right, let's go. Final thoughts, Steph.
I loved it. I think even if you're not a Godzilla fan or a horror fan or a monster fan in any way, you got to see this. If you're a history buff, especially if you like history, go see this just to see a different angle of the war and some really cool effects. I say almost perfect, and I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. Almost perfect. I agree with the Rotten Tomatoes got it at 98%, and I would agree. You know, aside from a couple little things here and there, it's a perfect movie. The action is fucking amazing. The human drama is compelling and engaging, and the pacing has just enough of each mixed in that you never get bored, even with a 2-hour runtime. I mean, this thing was awesome. And like we talked about with the camera angles being in the street for the destruction, it was just so awesome, man. The scale of it in the theater, so worth seeing in the theater. I mean, there's a reason that it's breaking box office records and people are talking about it, and it's getting extended in theaters and getting put in more theaters. It's because it's so good. So
if you can go.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame that it came out at the end of the year, because I'd be like, if you're going to see one movie this year in the theater, make it Godzilla -1. Well, the year's almost over, but you should still make it Godzilla -1.
Even next year, the beginning of the year.
So, yeah, man, I you know, this is my movie of the year. I haven't seen anything that tops it yet, or before it. So, yeah, highest recommendation.
Yeah.
And Steph Infection was digging and crying and loving and having like heartfelt moments.
It's like a Saturday night for me.
It must have been a good movie. All right, well, that's going to do it for another episode of Deadsville Horror Talk.
You forgot what show you were on for a second.
I do so many, I have to try and keep track. I tend to take more Captain Kirk-like pauses to like figure out what I'm supposed to say next. So if you hear me talk like this.
Oh my God. Oh, I got some.
Then I
got some.
am just thinking of what to say next. Captain's log in my pants.
Oh my God. I have to. I just got that.
Oh, it took a minute and then it sank in. That captain's log's gonna sink in somewhere else later. Woo!
Okay.
All right, time to wrap it up.
Yes. Yes, let's do that.
All right, Boo Believers, thanks for tuning in. Go watch Godzilla -1. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. What's the other one? Krampusnacht and Festivus. Festivus are gonna have the arrogant grievances.
Yes, I'll get my pole out.
All right, that's it for me and Steph Infection. We'll see y'all soon.
Whenever we feel like it.
Stay spooky.
Bye, Scream Arts.